Halo challenges, whether it's older challenges from back in the day like Tower to Tower, or more modern challenges like the Moistcritical $20,000 Halo 2 LASO Deathless Envyless challenge, there's always something incredibly exciting and intriguing whenever players attempt to do something that has never been done in Halo history to etch their name as the first player to do something incredible. But what about all of the challenges that nobody has been able to pull off just yet? Challenges that definitely exist that are out there that just need the right player to come around with the dedication, skill, and maybe even enough willingness to find out if something could even be possible to actually be able to pull off the next impossible challenge. These are Halo challenges that haven't been beaten just yet. Earlier on this year, thousands of people watched as Jervalin became the first ever player to beat Halo 2 legendary All Skulls on Without Envy Deathless. After 40 days of players attempting a challenge with a $20,000 bounty, he ended up winning it all. But what else exists beyond that? Well, to this day, no player has been able to beat Halo 3 legendary All Skulls on in a single Deathless run. And while this category doesn't have as much buzz around it because there isn't a high dollar value bounty associated with it, it is something that streamers have attempted multiple times. Now, after the completion of the Halo 2 Moistcritical challenge, 2 other players did also complete the challenge just for their own personal goals that they had set. Frazier became the first player to complete the Moistcritical challenge on the Master Chief Collection, shortly followed by Thesis, who currently has the record for the fastest completion time of the Moistcritical challenge, also done in the Master Chief Collection. Both of these streamers are currently attempting to be the first Halo 3 LASO Deathless completionist, but let's hone in on Thesis a little bit, who's been putting in a daily grind on this and currently has the furthest completion so far at the time of recording this, making it to Cortana 3 times. Now, watching Thesis since his Halo 2 LASO days, like a couple months ago, and then seeing how quickly he's been able to just learn and route out Halo 3 LASO Deathless really shows that he may be one of the greatest campaign players universally across multiple Halo titles, regularly streaming on Twitch. The only major problem that I think he runs into is the fact that he may be the most unlucky player that exists in all of the Halo community. I think if it hadn't been for random things completely outside of Thesis's control, he would have already beaten this challenge maybe a week or 2 ago. For instance, just the other night, he was having a late game run at the end of the Covenant, taking the safest route possible to fly in and skip the Scarab fight, and somehow a Scarab shot hit the glass behind him, like the wall of the door that was already closing, and somehow the explosion damage clipped through the door and drained all of his health while he had full health, killing him instantly. But let's take things a step further here. By the time this video gets edited and uploaded, we don't know how far along Thesis will be on this challenge, but the Halo 3 challenge is actually just a stepping stone for the real goal that Thesis has been eyeing, as he wants to be the first player to complete the original Halo trilogy LASO Deathless. Yeah, 3 games, he can beat them in any order, but we'll have to do it in one continuous sitting without dying once across all 3 titles. Thesis is a super underrated streamer, and if you haven't already stopped by his stream and followed him, you definitely should, because I'm going to be watching all of this go down over the next couple of months as my main source of entertainment, and as a Halo fan, it's really exciting to see these types of challenges. Did you know on Halo 3's Crow's Nest, there is a long-lost forgotten room that runs next to the barracks on Crow's Nest, that in all of Halo history, only one group of players have ever been able to gain access to the room, and that was all the way back on the original version of Halo 3. This is the Crow's Nest Rec Room, and only a handful of players have ever been able to get in here. Now, originally, the main strategy for getting in here was you had to quickly, frame perfectly kill this Marine that's in this Warthog and hijack the Warthog, and then as one player is sitting in the burning Warthog, another player or group of players have to push the Warthog all the way from this section of the level through various tunnels, down some vents, and line it all the way up with this door, where then you can use the Warthog to clip through a door and make it to the legendary, mysterious rec room. Now, some players since then have been able to pull this trick off using a deployable cover as a clip on MCC, but the interesting thing is, as far as we can tell, nobody but Sekala and Doolies, way back on the original Halo 3, have been able to use the Warthog strategy to get into the rec room. Now, the interesting thing is, we would really love to see a player be able to pull off the same strategy in the Master Chief Collection. But the problem is, MCC runs at a higher tick rate, meaning that the trick of hijacking that Warthog at the very beginning is incredibly harder, if not maybe impossible, to pull off. We tried for a long time pulling off just the Warthog hijack trick in one of our videos, and we spent hours just trying to get the hijack off, but we just weren't getting the timing quite right. We still felt like there was a chance that it is possible, just much harder in the MCC version. And then if someone is able to pull it off and get into the Warthog, the journey of pushing the Warthog with the player in it without flipping and losing the player or anything like that down all the hallways is another challenge in itself. It originally took Sekala and Doolies nearly 5 hours to pull off getting this challenge to work and being the first players ever into that room, but to have the title of being the first players to recreate this trick with the Warthog in MCC would be really interesting too. This next one's maybe more questionable whether it's possible or not, but the Halo 4 Ghost run without a ghost. Back when we were really getting into Halo and stuff here on Rocket Sloth, one of the challenges we did was to see how far we could get in each Halo game without having to get into a vehicle. Some games we could complete without a vehicle, other games we could not at all. Halo 4 though was really interesting because when we got to the Ghost run, while it seems at first like something completely impossible, we did chip away at trying to find a way to navigate this level without driving a vehicle. Now, we did have the original 1 second enter and exit rule that you are allowed to sit in the driver's seat of a vehicle for 1 second as long as you jump out right afterwards, because some of the level triggers require you to at least sit in a vehicle to load the next part. But we chipped away at trying to find out of bounds routes to get through this level, and it was really challenging back then, but we did learn a lot trying to get through this Ghost run. Firstly, there's a lot of big jumps that might be able to be bypassed if you get out of bounds and go on the side rocks. There is a wipe mechanic that will kill all of the players after a certain amount of time, but you can actually avoid the wipe mechanic by doing a quick loading trick that's explained in this video. It's not that confusing. You just run up, then like walk backwards and hit last checkpoint, which at least makes it where as long as you don't die, you don't get affected by the wipe mechanic if you're on co-op. And I remember us really thinking that there was a way that we just weren't quite figuring out how to get through it. Then our friend Tepik from Halo Creation, the #1 French Halo community channel, decided to take a crack at it and also made a lot of good progress routing out different areas and trying to piece together where you could or couldn't navigate on foot. But still to this day, no one's been able to pull this one off just yet. And that'd be one we would love to see someone make more progress on, or maybe figure out how to get further. Now, there are supposed to be more skulls being added into Halo 4, including acrophobia, which obviously wouldn't count, but with these skulls, maybe we would be able to learn more about this level and map out a route that potentially could work on foot. This next one is kind of a little bit of a meme one, but it is still one that nobody has done yet. We've had people complete the Moistcritical challenge on Halo 2 original on the Xbox, and now on MCC as well, but still, nobody has gone as far as attempting or completing the Halo 2 LASO Deathless challenge on Halo 2 Vista. Way back when all this stuff was going down, we did put a $20 bounty on this, and nobody has claimed it yet who have completed Halo 2 Vista, LASO Deathless, Envyless. But yeah, that one's still up for grabs. Interesting note about this, if you have followed the Halo 2 LASO lore, for the Vista version, we are allowing you to use the tick rate trainer plugin that essentially lets you change the tick rate of Halo 2 in real time as you're playing. So you'd be able to do all of the tricks from the MCC version at the higher tick rate, like invincibility on Oracle, as well as the sword flying and super bounces that you can do in the original Halo 2 version. Also, the Vista version uses the original Grunt Birthday Party, which is where all headshots explode like a plasma grenade, making this a little bit easier in some regards, but then you're also still having to play on Halo 2 Vista. I don't know, I just like to see someone attempt this. Not one person I've seen has even opened up Halo 2 Vista to try this, and it'd be really cool to see someone attempt to do all the tricks from both versions of the game. Okay, and then this next one is Data Hive 10 times under 2 2 hours. This one sounds really weird, but yes, there is a category on Halo runs for completing Data Hive 10 times in a row. And currently the world record is set by Halo 3 ODST speedrunner and legend Wingman953, who got a 2 hour, 12 minute, and 40-second run all the way back in 2021. Now, the interesting thing here is that this record could potentially be broken, though it would be incredibly challenging. Currently, if you look at individual level runs for Data Hive, it is very possible to get a time under 12 minutes. A lot of the times are in the high 10 minutes, and if you were to try to get a 10 times Data Hive under 2 hours, you'd have to average a time under this 12-minute mark. Now, in general, there's a lot of things that can go wrong on Data Hive that can just really mess up your fast time, and since it's a pretty lengthy run, being longer than a regular Halo 3 ODST run itself, and it's the same level over and over again, it kind of is a gauntlet to fight your way through. But it would be one really interesting if someone was able to put their speed running skills to the test and try to be the first person to pull a sub 2 hours in this category. Now, no one really runs this category too much, so we would love to just see more people running it as well. This one is one that we genuinely just want to see done because we don't know if we even have the skill set to make it happen, and we've tried well over 100 times at this point to make this happen. But in an Acrophobia ODST speedrun, the level Streets to Data Hive, which is essentially the level that starts after you beat Kikawani Station and before you go into Data Hive, is this very, very short section. And in Acrophobia, you just fly literally left, down the street, and right, and the door is your exit. And we've gotten really good at flying this, getting it as low as 6 seconds. And we've pretty much mastered that. But every time we load on this level, we jokingly say, this is the time where we get it in 5 seconds. We know we can do it. It's going to be easy. Let's just do it real quick. And we all proceed to try to do it, and we get 6 seconds every time. Sometimes 7 because we're bad. Now, the way that the game's timing system works means that if you get a time as high as 5 seconds and 59 seconds, it will roll back to 5 seconds. And as close as we are and as fast as we are, I do think it is possible to maybe pull off the legendary 5-second Streets to Data Hive. And this is something we would like to see. It's just easy difficulty is fine. So much so, we're going to go ahead and put our own bounty on this one as well. That's right. Whoever can manage, if anyone can manage to pull this off, we're not joking, despite what this sounds like, this 5-second run. If anyone can pull it off and get a 5-second run on this with regular Acrophobia easy rules set, we will be awarding the winner, once proven by a panel of Halo speedrunning experts, a $25 Olive Garden gift card to whoever can do that. So there's your incentive. There is yet to be a player who's managed to complete any Halo game blindfolded. That's something very interesting to us because running a video game blindfolded is a category in various other games that are out there. There's people who've been able to complete games like Mario 64 or Legend of Zelda off of things like sound alone, but nobody across any Halo game has managed to be able to pull off a full blindfolded run of any game, let alone a level. I don't think there's even been too many people who've even attempted to try to do a playthrough blindfolded. We've recently brought this idea up to a couple of friends who have thought of the idea a bit. Our friend Pringle has attempted learning some of the first level of Halo 3, but that's about as far as that extent has gone. And we're actually really interested in this. Now, the full blindfolded run that we would love to see is someone who can memorize all of Halo, any Halo game, on any difficulty, blindfolded without any extra help besides just, you know, their game sounds and whatnot. Though we do have another idea that could be fun, even though it's not as impressive, but it would be doing a playthrough of a Halo game blindfolded with a coach who can see what is going on. And I think we might be trying that very soon, so make sure you follow us on Discord, so if we figure out how we're going to try this or we're going to live stream it somewhere, you guys know where to catch it. Now, of course, that would be us guiding someone through a blindfolded challenge of Halo, which could be really challenging in itself. I think it's going to be not a walk in the park like maybe you would think, especially in sections where you have to fly or navigate some large open space. I feel like that would be really hard. I'm just thinking in Halo Combat Evolved, the second level alone with that bridge that you have to walk across right away is going to be a nightmare no matter how you look at it. But if there is ever someone out there who would attempt to do a full Halo run and wants to learn a full Halo run completely blindfolded, I would be the most impressed Halo fan of all time, because I can just imagine how difficult doing things like a Warthog run would be, or flying a Banshee. So I don't know which Halo game would be the best for this, but there's definitely some things that automatically make you think that it would be a nightmare. And I think the more you think about how hard a blindfolded Halo run could be, the more you realize that there is probably a good reason why nobody has been able to complete one, or even have tried to complete one just yet. This next one might sound a little bit silly, but Halo 3 ODST Coastal out of bounds with only one Warthog. Does that sound oddly specific? Well, yes it does, but it does have a bigger meaning behind it. Now, if you look at Halo 3 ODST along with a lot of the other Halo games, when it comes to LASO runs or LASO Deathless runs, as we know, most of these haven't actually been done yet. Halo 3 ODST's biggest problem comes with Coastal Highway being probably the hardest level, but we also know there is a massive skip that you can do that speedrunners do. However, typically to do this trick, speedrunners have to get a checkpoint because they have to do a really tricky Warthog launch that sometimes doesn't go the right way the first time you attempt it. Now, in a LASO setting, you don't have to have the timer counting down against you. You have all the time in the world. And the first launch, just getting the Warthog that you use to break through a barrier, isn't all that hard to do. It's just getting your character over to where that Warthog is that is the hard part. There's a big death barrier that you can launch yourself through with a Warthog, but if you could find a way to get enough momentum to launch yourself without a Warthog, then maybe you could walk the entire level skip on foot, and that would be incredible and a big breakthrough for the community that eventually will come and try to do ODST LASO Deathless. Now here's the thing, I've made a little bit of progress on this already. I've managed to stack up enough vehicles to get my ODST at least able to stand on this glass edge. The problem is I just can't actually make the jump. I've tried a couple of different variations using gravity hammers and other things just to test if that jump is possible, and I haven't had that much luck. Though if someone can figure this one out, it would be incredibly cool. So this one is one that I feel like has the lowest bar to enter into to start testing things out for. Just remember, if you're going to test it, make sure you do have the tilt skull on along with cowbell, because it has to work with those skulls on. The boom skull is not a part of the LASO playlist, so we can't use the extra push that boom gives you. Over on Halo Reach, all the way back in 2010, DWT Productions discovered that if you use a trick called the Magic Warthog and you launch your Warthog all the way up in the air, you can land on this frigate. But even more interestingly, you can do a really convoluted launch that involves timing a checkpoint and launching a Warthog with a player standing on top of it, so the player gets enough momentum and speed from the Warthog to launch all the way across to the other frigate, known as the frigate to frigate launch. Now this trick has been recreated over the years. Our friend Tepig from Halo Creation has even shown us how to do the trick, but here's the problem. This awesome launch only works in the original version of Halo Reach, likely because of the tick rate of MCC, at least in the way that the trick has normally been done before. When I was talking to Tepig about this trick, he does think that there is a chance that this trick could still be done in the Master Chief Collection, just nobody has found out a way to do it just yet. Tepig's done some numbers saying to get the right setup of the launch, you have to hit it at the exact 1/25th of a second, but in the Master Chief Collection, you have to hit it in the perfect 1/60th of a second. So you can see why it would be a lot harder to get that perfect launch. And even if you can get the launch right, you still have to make the landing at the end, which is a whole nother challenge in itself. I would really love to see someone manage to pull this off. Okay, and then one more challenge. I'm not going to go too much in detail on explaining how to do it potentially because it's very confusing, but some of you may know of the Halo 2 AUP glitch. It essentially was this groundbreaking glitch that allowed players to manipulate number values in the game with co-op and split screen and spawning in. And then there's this whole thing with salt or something, and you have to shoot your weapon a certain amount of times to get the number to equal a certain value from a pool of possible items that can spawn in, and it's only exclusive to whatever level you're on. It's a whole thing, but players have been able to use this AUP glitch as a way to literally transform themselves into other things in Halo 2. There are better explanations on how this trick works, but we also did our own explanation with little slideshows we put together that tell like the very basic, simplest version of how this glitch works. It's kind of like an introductory class to explaining it before you would take like the advanced class and actually trying to learn how to do it. But long story short, with this trick available, you could potentially turn yourself into any playable enemy or character within that level, and to this day, apparently and nobody has been able to turn themselves into the heretic leader on either the Arbiter or Oracle. So if you're really into Halo 2 glitching and you want to be the first to do something, this glitch still hasn't had anybody cover that just yet, and nobody's played as this character that may actually be playable in Halo 2 without any type of hacking or modding. This is just purely done with regular in-game glitching. And there we have it. This is our list of challenges that haven't been beaten yet, but maybe can be. And we'd really love to see some of these be completed in the next year. I think that there's a possibility a lot of these could go completed in the next 365 days. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to our patrons for making these types of videos possible. Seriously, you guys have helped us so much. If you're watching this and you're like, hey, those Rocket Sloth guys, they kind of make okay videos that I think are worth a slight small monetary value, you could come over to our Patreon and throw a couple dollars our way, and it helps us continue to make these videos, and you get your name in the credits like this. That's cool, right? All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time with a brand new video.